What's going on, everyone? JD here out of Las Vegas with Douglas Elliman with another video podcast to interview someone else from our Douglas Elliman family, someone who is very powerful out on the East Coast in Florida. Her name is Katia Reisler. First and foremost, she's a Platinum Award winner back in 2022, Golden Award winner in 2020-21. Also wore the President's Award in 2018, 2019. She's part of the sports entertainment partnership here at Douglas Elliman. Also a Knight Frank cardholder on top of that, international presence. Also a Tom Ferry's Real Trends Award winner as well. And she's a super broker, works with a lot of new construction, new developments. So she's a lot of experience, not only in residential, but also new development. And that's going to be something we want to get into as well. So I'll bring her to the screen right now. We have Katia. How are you, Katia?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. I am excited.
Oh, awesome. Cool. Yeah. So once again, Katia, I gave some accolades your way. My goal is for everyone to get to know who we're talking to. Everyone's got a different kind of business, Katia, and that's what makes us so unique in that sense, right? Everyone has a different way how they approach their business and also their background, where they came from. So let's start from the very beginning, not at birth, but let's talk about your career. So tell us how you got to the business, how that all started. I would love to hear that story.
Sounds wonderful. So a little bit about me. I obviously want to go into birth, but I do need to let you know that I was born in Peru. So I do have that South American background on me. The entire family moved to Canada. So in Canada, I basically raised my family, and then I was working with architects and developers in Canada. About 13 years ago, I moved here to Florida. So now in Florida, with my background with architects and builders, I wanted to bring all that together. So had a hard time buying my house. So guess what? I decided to get my real estate license, like a lot of people that have a real estate license. That kind of turned based on my connections and based on the fact that I'm Canadian. I started originally just with my Canadian clients, my Canadian developers, and that kind of started going up from there.
Was it in Florida?
Florida.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So I moved here 13 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, from Canada. It's still very tied with my connections in Canada as well. So I do travel, and that's where you mentioned super broker. I am the ambassador and the super broker for a few new Douglas Elliman developments. I do travel to Canada to do presentations for those projects. So we do it back and forth, basically. But yeah, no, here, residential, I'm open for any other questions that you have.
All right, let's go back into the history. So you're born and raised in Peru. How long did you live in Peru for?
Oh boy, I don't even know since I was 8 years old, I was going back and forth to Canada. Okay. Eventually, we moved full time to Canada with my family, where they reside. My family's in Toronto. My husband's family's in Montreal. So I am truly Canadian.
Why did your family choose Canada versus anywhere else?
If you want the real story, my brothers were literally offer jobs both in Canada and in Australia. And the true story, my brother put a map in the wall and threw a dart. He landed closer to Canada. That's how he chose it.
I love it.
That's a true story.
I love it. I love how your life can be just decided on like that.
And that dart. And that was it. I mean, there is no other story around it.
Oh, very cool. And then, so you're Canada for, you said 13 years, you said, is that correct? Or
no, much more. I have been in Florida for about 13 years.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. And then you moved to Toronto, and then did you dabble in real estate in Canada too, or no?
No, I work with architects and developers, so I do have a background in design.
Okay.
I was working with architectural company where they did a lot of architectural models. I was behind in designing and working on all that on very interesting projects across the world.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Is that where you got your taste for real estate? Is that where you started to realize, oh, I like this?
I truly believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of the architectural, beautiful places. That's why where I gravitate towards that buildings and working with developers and working from the ground up versus just in the middle of it.
Got it. And then you moved to Florida. And then, so Florida, why Florida out of every place from Canada?
We already have a place here, a family place in Bal Harbour.
Okay.
It's something that we knew Florida, but we also realized that if we were moving the entire family, we wanted my kids to go to schools. So we chose Boca for the hub. And we made a strong decision, and we looked around to see where we wanted to be, not knowing anything or anywhere. We made a decision to move to Boca, and it has been wonderful. My kids went through all the schools in here. I can truly say I've been here for 13 years. know every development.
Very cool. Very cool. So
It's
I know the weather in Florida is definitely more like Peru. Obviously, it's got some humidity going on, a little more tropical. Do you enjoy that kind of weather?
so I think I truly forgot the weather of Peru.
Okay.
I remember being in the beach most of the time. The weather in Canada definitely is difficult. It's just cold most of the time. But we were coming to Florida for about 5 times out of that year, to the point that we were being in Canada. My kids started growing up, and the teachers started reminding me that my kids needed to go to school.
Yeah.
So we obviously, instead of 5 months, we do 3 months, but we were here for about 5 months for about 30 years.
Gotcha. All right. So you moved to Florida. You got your license. You said because you wanted to buy your first home. You realized like, hey, I want to do it myself or whatnot. Is that what took place?
No, I actually lived in a hotel for 5 months
Okay. Okay.
because I couldn't buy a house.
Got
It was just difficult to buy a home, and also being Canadian, that's something that I learned very fast, even though we had the funds to buy a house. But then I didn't know any banks that will lend money to any people that were not from Florida or the United States.
Yeah.
We needed credit, which we didn't have. After living in a hotel for 5 months, we were able to secure a loan. We were able to have a property. Now, in those 5 months, I met a lot of realtors. I was finding out my way within Boca, and they were all very grateful and very helpful. We had a wonderful realtor from Wellington, but sadly she didn't know Boca. So that was difficult. We found a house. This is actually the house that we are still in. So
Well,
we
very,
love the house that much that we're still in the home, and we remain in the same property.
very nice. I
Yeah.
think it's interesting that being so obviously the border of Canada and of course Mexico, that we don't have any kind of credit, reciprocity kind of credit situation, right? Because
It
we
was
all,
difficult.
yeah, because we all do business within our own countries. People are investing here and vice versa. Why can't we have that reciprocity or some kind of credit thing that we can all work in tangent to help people like yourself? Like, hey, I'm moving to the States, right? I had a history overseas or at Canada. I plan to stay here and grow here. Let me buy a
Yeah.
place, right? And so, which makes it a little difficult. So I get it.
Knowing what I know now, I am set up for all my clients. There is an easy button, and they just simply contact the right companies, the right mortgage companies, and it's done. There is no problem.
That's
It is
awesome.
a little bit more of a deposit than your average person, but still they can do it based on their credit and anything in their country. So it's
Right,
all
right.
good. Yeah, now it's available.
And that's great. You have that upper edge on a lot of agents who don't do international business, who you know it, but also you went through it, right? So that helps you the most, right? You can literally say like, no, I've been through this. I know what to do, help myself out. And also clients will listen to that more often than not when it's like a personal testimonial. I know where you come from, guys. I did it too, but let me tell you the
Yeah.
right ways or the steps to get it done.
Another thing is like different people from different countries. I do have a certification, the international certification, which literally you learn how to guide people from different areas in the world. Transactions are done differently in different parts. Even New York has a different way of closing transactions than what we have in Canada, and the same with South America. So you have to guide the clients in a different way versus just buy a home. It's not that, it's much more.
No,
And you have to know how to read the clients and where they're coming from to be able to assist them throughout the transaction.
yeah, that
So
makes
there is
sense.
a lot behind the scenes.
Yeah. So you are obviously you live many places. So list the languages you speak, Katia. What languages do
Oh
you speak?
boy, that's not a long list. So I definitely speak Spanish, and
Perfect.
obviously we're talking in English. I can understand French, I can understand Portuguese, but I don't speak it.
Got it.
So it's just one of the things that comes with the territory.
That's right. That's right. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I think it's great when people can to speak different languages, especially people who come from the place where you do business, right? So Canada, French, Canadian. If you can understand it, it helps it beneficial a lot. Spanish fluency, Italian is very close in words. Of course, Portuguese for sure. So those languages, obviously, you can pick up the major words, fill in the gaps, and get the job done, right? Too. So I'm sure
Yeah,
that helps you period across the way.
100%.
You're in Florida now. Where'd you get licensed first? Where'd you hanging out? What'd your business look like in the beginning?
So I wanted to be with Douglas Elliman since the very beginning,
Okay.
but I did not have enough certification, enough exposure.
Sure.
So funny enough, I was walking in the beach. I got my license. I was walking in the beach, and someone that I knew from Montreal was walking with their grandfather. And literally, true story, they go, "What are you doing now?" And I was so excited because I got my license the day before. So I go, "I'm a realtor." So they go, "Oh, we have a property for you to sell."
Wow.
I'm like, "Oh boy."
It
So
got real,
I
real
got
fast.
real very fast, and I had
Yeah,
no idea what to do.
sure.
I'm being fully honest. You get your license, and then you go, "Oh boy, what do we do?"
Yeah.
So from there, I realized, okay, now my license need to be held somewhere. So I went to Douglas Elliman, and to which they told me I needed more experience. So I literally started making calls to people that we knew, and somebody that we knew said, "Hey, I have a real estate company. Put your license with us." Well, I didn't know that they actually had an architect, a designer, an attorney, a broker. So it was like five people in house. I was the only realtor. So very fast, I learned quite a bit. And
Wow.
I was very fortunate to put my license with them at the very beginning. It's just a small boutique company that they opened for them and their investment portfolio. So I learned quite a bit quite fast, and I was very fortunate. About a year and a half into it, I realized that with my exposure across the world, I needed something else. So I went to Douglas Elliman, and of course, at that point, I had enough in my database and enough transactions under me. So I started with Douglas Elliman, and that was about, I believe, 6, 7 years ago.
Wow, very cool. So
Yeah.
you're the with the boutique for about 6 years too then.
No, about a year and a half.
What a cool experience. When I
Yeah.
talk to agents here who are new realtors, I always ask, how'd you get started and whatnot? And people are like, oh, I had a mentor or I was part of a team kind of thing. But you were like, I need to hang my license. DE wasn't ready for me quite yet, and I need more experience. So you found a shop that would take you in, but at the same time, your exposure was escalated much faster because of the
Yes.
people you're working alongside that gave you that education that takes a long time to learn. So you learned by fire immediately on those sections of the business as you will, or sector, and then you took that together and said, okay, DE, I'm ready.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And then I was ready, and then I came in, and I have not stopped since then. I like the fact that Douglas Elliman has the exposure globally. And like you mentioned, I'm a Knight Frank card holder as well.
Mhm.
And so that takes me outside, and it brings some of my clients into the picture as well.
Well,
So
let's talk about that a little bit. How often do you travel overseas, Canada and whatnot? Well, how often do you travel? Period.
So it depends on what I'm doing. So
Sure.
I have been in Canada about 3 times this
Mhm.
year, if not four. At three of those times, I was presenting projects.
Mhm.
So I go specifically representing some of the developments, or I go into events where we are talking about developments. So I do make an effort to go at least 3 times, 4 times a year, depending on what it is.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
How hard is it to educate people who are following or watching this? How hard is it to keep in contact with international clients? I mean, with whether it be time zone, language barriers, and also the culture, right? Different cultures require different things too. Is that just you learn over time and figure it out, or what did you do for that?
I'll suggest you partner with the right people. Like, it's not easy to just jump into it. Before I was working with the architects in Canada, I spearheaded a whole accessory division with a company that took me also to Asia. My communications and everything, I have a background in there as well. So traveling to Hong Kong, traveling to China, traveling to Tokyo. So those kind of things, you start learning different cultures and different things. So one of my clients here told me that they had a property in their portfolio in Tokyo, and they wanted me to assist with the sales. I said, Knight Frank is right there. So I made a call. We had to coordinate something, which basically I had to wake up at 3 in the morning to be able to be part of that call. So my alarm rang and I was up, and we were doing the communication with them. I'll be traveling to tomorrow to New York, where we have an event celebrating 15 years for Knight Frank.
Yeah.
So I'll be there as well. So it's just one of the things that we do have the reach, and that's good for clients to know that we are fully supported behind the scenes. I've had a listing in Wimbledon, and which is kind of fun. And yeah, you get to travel if you choose to,
Right.
or you just partner with somebody that is strong in there. I was in London last year. We were there for about, I think it was about 5 days, with a group of Douglas Elliman realtors as
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
top producers. And we were there, and we got to see some of the projects. So you get to immerse yourself in what's behind the scenes as well.
yeah. I
So
think that's beautiful, Katia, that you took the initiative to go do that, to network with pretty much our family overseas, being Knight Frank, right? You know, you are one phone call away from anywhere international. And so you can honestly say, Katia, like, hey, you call me about a property in Tokyo. That's not my market. That's not what I do. But I know someone who's going to be awesome for you. And that's someone that I recommend because they're part of our family. And that's huge. And that gives that peace of mind that you can do so. But you going the extra mile and actually going there and meeting them in person, now you have that rapport that's a different level. Like, oh yeah, I know Katia. Yeah, we're good. You know what I mean? And that's a beautiful thing to have. And that's something that you as an individual or any agent needs to take that initiative to say, I want these contacts, but I also want to build that. It shouldn't be just a normal email here and there or call. If you want to make it deepen it, you got to make that face-to-face interaction. That goes so much farther, period, because we're obviously dealing with people's net worth and personal prized possessions. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and I guess the biggest thing that I can say is that it's not about one sale, it's about building relationships.
Right.
So you are there with them, and then they think about you as well for their friends. So if they have a wonderful experience, guess what? They're going to think about you. And definitely just continue being in touch with your clients. There is at least 2-3 newsletters that go from me to all my clients, and that database starts increasing. And again, you're in front of them. I got a call this morning from one of my clients that I haven't spoken to them for at least a year. However, they have been touched by some of my newsletters at least 12 times, if not 24 times in the year.
Right.
So they're coming back and they're ready to buy another property, and they call me. Yeah. Stay on top of them, and you try your best to follow up and just be involved in their life as well.
Yeah. So, and Katia, the bigger our portfolio gets, obviously it coincides with success, right? But come success, it's trouble to balance everything that you do, right? All your clients, and you got to do your best to touch them in some facet, whether it be emails, email campaign, phone calls, events, or whatever it may be. It looks like you do a lot of email campaigns, and I personally have seen your email. So Katia, I want to give you a round of applause. Great job on those. And that's important. It's a beautiful what you do. I think it's important what you do, because I believe emails, as simple as it is also a reflection of who you are as a business, right? If you take time on what you do for your emails, whether it be informational, educational, whatever that may be, you got to put your best foot forward. And by your emails, it shows that, Katia. Now, I'm the same way with you. I definitely, whatever I put out, whatever I send out, it's got to represent who we are as a team, as a company, because you never know who's reading it. You never know who they're going to forward it to. You never know. You want to make sure that you do the best thing forward, which goes into my next question. What does your business look like in 2024? What are you doing well? What's working for you? Katia, as we know, there's a lot of noise out right now. The most noise I've heard in a long time, right? Rates, the wars, the election, we can go on, and NAR, let's throw something else in the mix, right? What are you doing to 2024? What's working for you? And share with us. That'd be great.
Okay, no problem. So first of all, yes, there's a lot going on in the world. And I guess my normal personality is I try to calm everybody down. There has been times when my clients have said that if it wasn't because I keep them all zen, there's no way that they would have gotten to the end. And that's just my normal personality. Yep. So I do not panic, and I do not make a big deal, and I just put the right people behind it. I work very closely with attorneys. I work very closely, and I provide that support for my clients. So there is clarity more than confusion. Yep. And I find that that's the best thing, is just to spell out what goes on in the transactions. Again, going back to the fact that different countries, different ways. To give you an example, in Canada, right away, you're closing a transaction. You bring a check, you do the deposit, you're done. The rest, you're just waiting for paperwork. Wow. But you can't walk away from it. In New York, you do similar things. Different people in New York, my clients, all of them have attorneys. So they're confused when I'm making the contracts. So you have to explain those things and just keep it simple. How is my business looking for 2024? The numbers are there. The transactions are there. We are seeing a lot more right now. Literally, people are starting to show us more interest. Definitely was a little bit more challenging than during the pandemic. I increased my marketing completely, like probably 1,000%, not even 100, 1,000.
Sure.
So there was different things that I did, different approaches. It's not only emails. There is some clients that only confirm and only refer to text messages. So that is very important, that you got to know who your client is. Some of them will never look at an email. So now I have a text message campaign, or I have different ways to touch base with them. A lot of them only want to talk to you. So now you need to know your clients. And that's part of building relationships.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I like that your emails are fantastic. But to your point, Katya, you got to know how your clients want to be communicated and also the frequency, right? How often do they want to hear from you? Your goal is never to annoy them or
Yeah.
say things that they already know already.
Yeah.
But if it's important to them, obviously, if you find fascinating, they will most likely will find it fascinating as well. Right. And that's how I think about it too. So our goal is to be in front of them in all minds, make sure to let them know that we are there for them when they need us. Of course, provide information that's relative to them. They can say, all right, I can use this. Like this is important to me, which is great, right? So
Yeah.
if you have investors, then cool. Like this message is completely for my investor side. If I have someone who's looking to relocate, then this is perfect for them, kind of thing, right? So and
Yeah.
that takes time to do that, and that's just obviously knowing your clients and what that looks like. I'm a big proponent of making that simple call here and there, or that direct text message. Hey, how are you? How's the house? What's going on? How is everything? How's the family? And I think 2024 allowed me to do more of that, Katya, because the market was interesting. I was being more personal in that sense, so I could reach out a little more and be yeah, it's more personal, right? Because we do a lot of mass things, because our goal is a numbers game. We do know that, but there's nothing stronger than when we can do independent and personal items.
Yeah,
Such
and I
as
would suggest if you have something like a database, break it down.
yeah,
And you cannot send one newsletter to everybody. It just doesn't work. So I have my clients broken down in different ways, whatever events you have in whatever city you are. So we have the boat show coming up. I have 2 events around the boat show where I'm a concierge service, so I provide a lot more service than just real estate.
yeah, yeah,
Because our clients have everything as well. So I have boats that will be parked in some homes. We have events that are private events, or I provide my clients VIP access to some of those brokers that potentially could provide that support that they need on that
right,
as well.
right,
Art Basel, I have clients that are in the art field. So now, again, I'm bringing a hand-selected group of my clients. They are going to the VIP events where they will be taken care of. From sports and entertainment, I know that there's quite a bit of people that will be arriving. So I have an event that is scheduled at a new development where we'll be with them. So we offer that different level for different people. So my database is divided. I'm not spamming you.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, if you're not a boater, you're not getting something on a boat. People have to understand that otherwise it becomes a spam.
yeah,
If somebody's looking for new developments, then we're sending them new developments, but we also need to know the price points.
yeah. No, for sure.
So there is a lot to do behind the scenes that kind of puts together the entire magic.
Yeah,
So
I
there's
agree.
a lot that happens.
I think a blank message might not be the best idea for a lot, to your point, right? If you have a niche clientele that really are big into both, or big into artwork, or big into sports, this is what they should be listening to or reading, what I'm saying to them, of course. That really takes time to know your clients, right? In a sense, like, all right, I know my clients extremely well. This is exactly what I should be sending them and feeding them. And there's gonna be some clients like that. Hey, Katya, I don't care how pretty your emails, I'm never gonna read it. I'm sorry, right? You're like, okay, Bill, I get it. All right. How do you want me to tell you information? Like, you know what? You can call me once a month. Fine, deal. I'll call you. I mean, whatever it is. No one should be afraid of how do they want to be communicated. What does that look like? It just shows you care, and also puts them like you care on a personal level, right? You're not saying, hey, I just completed a transaction with, now you're part of this everyone bucket. No. How do you want to be communicated after this? What does that look like? Can I invite you to events? Can I invite you to these things? I'm like, yes, that'd be great. So now you know moving forward. But that's a really good idea.
Yeah. And social media, let's not forget social media. There is quite a bit in there. Somebody may be in Facebook, but they won't look at LinkedIn ever in their life, or other people that will only look at LinkedIn,
Yeah.
other people that will be in Instagram. So try to be, strong in every one of the social media channels at whatever level or whatever capability you have, but at least tell a story.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Use all the platforms these are actually free platforms to use, right? So it just depends on your frequency, your messaging. But my recommendation to anyone who does the different platforms is be consistent. Make sure your branding it comes across through all the platforms, right? So they can kind of go, oh, that's Katya. I know. Yeah, I've seen her. I mean, that's great. You don't want anyone to hop around and go, oh wait, it looks like this over here, or looks like that over there. Make it seamless, make it cohesive, that they will never confuse Katya with other agent. Like, oh, I know exactly who Katya is. I know exactly what that looks like. But yes, hitting all the platforms is a must. I think it's definitely a must, because to your point, people are super LinkedIn people. Some people are big Instagram people. Some people are big on Facebook, right? And to each their own, which is fine. But identify what that looks like.
Yeah. And be yourself in social media. Don't try to be somebody else,
Be
because that
authentic.
will never work.
Yeah, agreed.
You will just not be able to be consistent because that's not you. So figure out whatever is you and just go with that. Don't try to be anybody else.
I agree. So let's talk about your business 2024. Do you have a team, Katia? Do you have a support? What does that look like?
I have a big support team behind me. I don't have an official team, but I do
Sure.
have a big support team, and I have realtors that I rely on
Mhm.
behind the scenes as well. But my support team is the key. I have people that help me with my marketing or videos or different things. So there is a support team behind the scenes, quite a bit. I probably have 8 people that are consistently assisting in different things.
I get it. I get it. I get it. What was your, when you became the DE kind of thing, when did you feel like you wanted to level up? Was that earlier with DE, or was that when you first got your license? When did you realize I want to level up? What does that look like? When did you have that kind of epiphany?
Well, I mean, if I go back to when I was born, no, I'm joking. Uh, so I think, honestly, that's just my personality. I was actually a national champion in gymnastics in my country. So
Wow.
like I'm one of those, and so I'm one of those people that I strive for more. And very soon, when I got my license, I realized I did want it to continue going up and up.
Sure.
And just assisting all my clients across the board, it starts adding up. It just happens in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, when I want to say when I was born.
Yeah. Honestly, that's a great answer. And I'll tell you why. Because I think, not saying you can't teach hunger and the fire, but some people just have that in them. Like, I want to become the best, or I want to strive for more. I want what's next. And it goes back to being an athlete. I've interviewed a couple of people who were previous athletes. One was from New York, sweetheart. She's a gymnastics, Olympic style gymnastics. She has the athleticism, obviously is beautiful, but the determination, right? You guys athletes know how to
Yeah,
prepare, you know how to execute, and you're dialed in, right? And I know a lot of
keep
other,
focus.
yeah, your complete focus, right? I know other athletes who do real estate too, and they're so talented. They're just so focused. I gotta make 100 calls, done. What's after that? Okay, done. Like it's almost like their training regimen. There's no excuses. They're just so dialed in, and so I mean, wow, I recommend everyone to do sports at a high level, and then do real estate, because it just works. I've seen so many people translate to that, or to any kind of business field. You're so focused, you're so dialed in, and there's no excuses. There's zero. And so I think that's why what makes you successful is having that background of being an athlete.
Yeah, and that's why I had to bring that in, because literally you're training for 10 hours a day. So now you know that there is a focus on things. And I was very fortunate. My coaches were from Japan. So there was a lot of Zen that came to me. You need to keep it focused, but also realize that you got to keep it cool,
No.
because there is nothing else that happens. And that helps a lot in real estate, and also organization. You got to be organized. You got to have those systems in place. The more you spend in real estate, the more time and the more clients and everything. So organization is very important behind the scenes. Focus and organized.
It's huge. As you grow, you get more and more clients. You're juggling more and more things. How do you stay focused? Do you have a daily routine you think you do in the morning? Do you have anything like that you do? That any of your trade secrets?
Funny enough, my phone says focus.
Okay.
So like at 7 a.m., my phone says focus.
Yeah.
In the middle of the day, it says meditate. I'm not going to necessarily meditate, but it's reminding me to breathe.
Sure. Yeah.
So you just kind of keep it cool. So I do have those times in the day, and it's in my phone. So it's a reminder that pops.
Yeah.
So it just keeps you very cool and collected. I work 24 hours a day. That's not a lie, but I do keep it contained. Sometimes I will be in a salt room and I'm still taking my calls. So I'm in a salt room for an hour, and it's just keeping me chill. If my phone is not ringing, my eyes will be closed.
Yeah.
So there is certain things that I do. Again, meditation, I do it. I do go and I keep myself calm. I love all the sound bowls and I love all that. And that's one of the reasons why I like the well is one of the projects that I'm an ambassador for. And I love the whole wellness component, and I love all that they have. So a lot of the luxury residences now have a component of lifestyle and luxury and all that.
Right.
So it's very important for people to always remember that they got to relax, and they can run at 1,000,000 miles per hour, but it's very important to also level down and balance your life.
Yeah.
So definitely keeping it balanced.
I think that's one of the common things between all the top agents is creating boundaries and also have balance. It's tough to do all of them, Katya, because our goal is to be there for our clients consistently. Our script is like, hey, wherever you need us, when you need us, we're there. At the same time, creating that boundaries to say, hey, this is me time. This is my travel time. This is my family time, all that, which is important. And what I've learned over the years, and you tell me if I'm wrong, actually our clients, they welcome that. They welcome you to have your time. There's been times where either I'm traveling on vacation with my family, kind of like, hey, I'm with my family, let me call you back. They're like, oh my God, then call me tomorrow. Enjoy your family. And I love those responses, right? Because they do care, but we just want to do everything for them. But I think it's okay for us to tell our clients here and there, like, hey, I'm on vacation. And, if it's pressing, can you wait? And they're like, oh my goodness, yeah, I just want to tell you something. Then great. Let's have a great conversation in a couple of days or whatnot. That's fantastic, right?
Right. Or having somebody from your team that is always there, or leaving it all set up. If you do have to go away, you just got to have a backup plan.
Right.
I'm always the face for every transaction, and I'm always there. Yep. But having that right support behind and being ready for that is definitely very important. So depending on where you are, depending on what you want to do, you need to know and you need to be set up for that. So that's very important.
I love that. I love the whole remind yourself, because that's hard, because we're so much. Yeah, that's great. We're so much, and think of the weeds. I mean, we it's okay. I mean, I love what I do. I'm sure you love what you do too. So we enjoy being busy. Don't get me wrong, but time gets away from us. Oh my goodness, I need to take a break just so you don't burn out. You want to stay healthy. Also, if you're taking care of yourself, you're there for your clients even more so, because you're healthy. You have a clear head and a clear mind kind of thing. You want to be fresh for your clients too. And that's also important too, not just yourself, but everyone around you.
Yeah, for sure. It's just a matter of you being organized. Yeah. And if you have the systems in place, then it creates that calmness in you as well. Yeah. You are not all over the place. It is all organized, and you can function much better that way. Yeah. Like, it's important system behind the scenes.
Agreed. I'm sure you're seeing too, Katia. I've seen agents around my offices sometimes who are like, every time you see them, they're always stressed. Like, it's just constant stress. How do you live like this? But people like sometimes just live in that stressful environment or zone. But it comes back to the basics, right? Mm-hmm. Organization, figuring out what you need to do, figure out priorities, get the support you need. Hopefully that alleviate that stress. That sounds awful.
Yeah, that's true.
I think a lot of agents I talked to, they had a breakthrough moment in their career. It could be in the beginning, it could be middle, something happened yesterday. But did you have a breakthrough moment in your career, like, Katia has arrived? what it doesn't mean to be something crazy amazing, but something that really meant something to you. You're like, okay, this is what I should be doing. This is where I'm at. I belong here, et cetera, et cetera. What would be that one or two breakthrough moments?
Oh boy, this is a tough one. Yeah. Definitely hearing from my clients that they appreciate that what we do is something that was valued to them. Right. We all have multiple clients and different personalities. Not everybody can be happy, but those little comments that they make, you ask for a reference note or do something, and they put those comments, and it makes you realize how we are actually doing something that is making a difference. We can't forget that this is their home. So to me, just being able to help the clients and them making those comments is very important. I definitely gravitate to the new development. Yeah. I have the developers that are asking me to be their ambassadors and talking on behalf of them. To me, is very important. Yeah. Having that recognition from your clients, besides the fact that all your family knows you and everybody knows who you are, now people are seeing it out there. I want to say I guess it was very impactful to me in the sense that one client called me one day. They had seen something in social media, and she goes to me, I need to buy a place in Florida. Crazy enough, I had not spoken with her for probably 20 years.
Wow.
But again, social media, they were still following you. They're seeing you. And it was like, I need to buy a place. And I said, okay, when are you coming? I'm not coming. I'm like, oh boy. So she never saw the place. We work very closely, FaceTime, and different ways. She never saw the place. And very high profile client, the name was never disclosed, but it was like very nice to know that they are trusting on us. We got to perform very carefully across the entire transaction. So there's a lot of different levels of trust that they put on us, but we're working with attorneys and we're working on everybody.
Sure.
Another transaction that I did was with an athlete, Chris Everett. Mm-hmm. Okay. Chris Everett is my client. Wonderful client, wonderful transaction across the way. I had never had a client at that level where now I'm talking to the PR team and you're being trained to be able to answer questions for the New York Times. So those kind of things, that was an incredible realization that, hey, by the way, we have those clients or those profiles and all the silent we're being interviewed for something that will show. So yeah, no, that was definitely very touching as well.
Wow, very
So,
cool. Very
yeah.
cool. I think
Yeah.
those are great stories, by the way. I love that. I think the couple ones I took from you was a new development, right? New dev, in the sense where they can trust you with their baby, with their product, right? They trust your skill set to do it, to present it well, to
Yeah.
showcase it well, and of course to sell it ultimately. A huge win and a notch on your belt. I've earned a seat at this table,
Correct.
and that's huge. And once you do that, I think in the beginning as a new agent or as an agent trying to strive to become better, you're the one making those outbound calls like, hey, I would love to represent you, and then there's no better feeling when they call you.
Well,
Right.
and also knowing your clients. Again, for example, there was a transaction that I did where we were literally at a Douglas Elliman event, and we always stand in front and somebody goes, who needs what, who wants something, what clients are looking for what. And on the stage, the person that was presenting says, I have an off-market piece of land. I knew my client was looking for land. So I literally text as she's still on the stage. I'm texting. We have this is of market is that he goes sold. So I literally lifted my finger. She goes, are you serious? And I go, done. So that was bought in 2018. Fast forward until this year, my client did 10 homes. We were originally zoned for 18 townhomes. He changed it to 10 homes. From 2018 until now, we just closed. It took about 7 months for the actual homes to be sold.
Yeah.
We sold 10 homes.
Wow.
So that's a story that people need to know. First of all, we're connected. We're looking for products for specific clients, but you never know where the product is going to come from. It was
Sure.
literally in a presentation that somebody spoke. I fast forward in 5 years, obviously the pandemic and everything happened in the middle and permits and everything, but we just closed on 10 homes in East Boca. So
Very
that's pretty
cool.
strong.
That's very
Yeah.
strong. That's super cool. I love that story. So, as you know, real estate has changed a lot. Let's talk about the last 5 years, last 10 years. It's insane. You've seen it for a while now, too. You don't have a crystal ball. I know that, but you're also very talented and very smart. I'm not going to hold this against you, but where do you see real estate going in the next 5 years with technology, with people able to work wherever they want, with the economy, all the tax, everything? Where do you see real estate going, not only on the sales side, what we do, but also real estate sales across the board?
It depends on where you are. Whoever is listening depends on where they are. I'm definitely talking for Florida. I'm seeing a lot of new development. I'm seeing a lot of investors. I'm seeing a lot of companies relocating, which is basically what you see in the news.
Yeah.
All that is real. We're seeing other areas that are popping versus Miami. Obviously, Miami is strong, quite a bit of new development. But we have Pompano Beach. Pompano Beach is becoming something that incredible projects are popping, the people investing in there, and very strong developers investing their money in there. You have quite a bit of projects in there. We have projects in West Palm Beach, which West Palm Beach, I mean, really, it was just there before everybody wanted to go to Palm Beach Island. We have quite a bit of developments in there, and Mr. C is coming with incredible pedigree in there. We have quite a bit of projects in there. So it is definitely, all those projects have been built. So within the next 2-3 years, you're going to see a lot more of these luxury buildings popping up.
Got it.
A lot of them are considering the lifestyle. So you have some of them with larger balconies, some of them with larger amenities, some of them, like I mentioned before, of the well,
Yeah.
where now they have a whole wellness component within it. We have projects that are in different areas, but we're seeing them coming up. A lot of very zen, calm environments and furnishings. So you see them in there, and it's for different clients, different areas. We have the elections coming up. I think a lot of people are waiting.
Yep.
I'm not quite sure what they're waiting for, but they're waiting. There's people waiting for, what do I do? I don't think it matters who wins or who loses. There's people just waiting. And I anticipate that when people start coming specifically to Florida because of the season, we're probably going to see a lot more movement, which we're seeing it now.
Yeah.
I mentioned originally a lot of my behind the scenes is pretty strong. I more than double up behind the scenes. Definitely staying on top of what's available for us. We have different programs, different things that we can utilize. Definitely AI is out there and it's here to stay.
Yep.
So jumping in and trying to work with what's available for us and staying ahead of the curve. And that's basically where I think it's definitely strong in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah. I think for a long time, I think last year, and I think Florida, you guys had just a killer market. You guys were just number one by a landslide, whether it be new development or whatnot. People relocating there for various reasons.
Yeah.
I think Florida was very, very healthy, and it's cool to see the different areas kind of blowing up, which is good. We know West Palm Beach, we know Miami, we know all those major places, but other
And
outside
Pompano.
places. Oh
Pompano
yeah,
is very strong.
there you go. So it's cool to see the other places that are coming out because I'm sure people want to make their way to Florida because back in the day, what it was, the East Coasters, Connecticut, New Yorker retired in Florida. And then for us, it was California moving to Nevada. But now I'm seeing people move anywhere in the country. So it's not like wherever they want to go is where they're going to go, which is kind of
Yeah,
cool.
and areas like, like Bal Harbor, it's an area where everybody knows there's the Bal Harbor shops and all that. But right behind, we have Bay Harbor,
Okay.
which a lot of people didn't know it existed. I've always, for the past 5, 6 years, don't forget I have a place in there. So I have been around that area. My kids were used to go fishing in the little park right behind the shops. Well, all that now, there's 12 projects coming up.
Wow.
12 in an area that was completely dormant. We
Wow.
have quite a bit of Douglas Elliman projects in there. Everybody has access to the information, but there is quite a bit in there and more projects coming up as well.
Yeah.
So that area was completely dormant. And now it's just so within 5 years, you're going to see all this growth. And obviously, Bal Harbor is 2 streets, not even one street. So the price point in there, when you're looking at a Rivage, you're looking at 8 million and up. When you go into Bal Harbor, there is some product in there that you can buy for $1.5 million. Yes, you can go to 10 million as well or 12.
Sure.
But there is product in there. You're not on the ocean, but you're a block away from the ocean. And you're still around all the beautiful area, which is the same. And you're inches away from Surfside and you're inches away from Sunny Isles and Aventura, which is also on fire.
Wow.
So we have more projects coming in there as well.
That's super cool. I know Florida's building up. That's what you guys are doing. You're building new towers, which is great. But I hear you when it comes to the amenities. That is a huge thing as well. People want that lifestyle component and amenities. Here in Nevada, we have the Four Seasons building going up right now. The huge lifestyle component, the fitness, wellness, massages, the whole deal. People want that within your arm's reach. That's a big, especially for Four Seasons, that's what they do, of course. But other new development companies and teams are really, really pushing that because they really stay one-stop shop. Okay, if it really is one-stop shop, we want this component too, and that's a big, big deal with that. And I know I heard someone else doing or they're gonna have their own in-house grocery stores now too. Everything else.
A lot of them have. Yeah. And with technology and everything. So I have a listing at Paramount Miami, which is an incredible whole development in Miami. And you walk in and literally use your phone. If you tap it in there, they know exactly that you're walking in, and there's nobody inside. It's like you lift something up and you're getting charged. So it's phenomenal. We're also seeing in residential, because I know I'm mentioning a lot of the new development in residential. I mean, Boca Raton, which is exactly where I live, there is country clubs. So if you're just to drive around Boca Raton, you see a lot of hedges. You see a lot of gates. You don't see much more unless you go into East Boca. There's quite a bit of a lifestyle behind the scenes. A lot of them with a golf component, but a lot of those big country clubs are being renovated as well with the same philosophy of you want a spa, you want a gym, you want all that, and you get that lifestyle within the country clubs. Different level of prices. You have, Boca West is about $150,000 for memberships. When you go into San Andreas, you're talking about a $300,000 membership, plus all the fees that you have. So that's the level of clientele that is coming to Boca. There's quite a bit of gated community, quite a bit of country clubs, and you have the demand. We have a lot of people coming from New York in here. It's one of those things that when I'm going to New York, I do partnerships with people because guess what? My clients are going there, but the clients are also coming here. So it's one of those things that we need to talk to our clients because you never know. And there is quite a bit of referrals that we do within Douglas Elliman.
Yeah.
And again, it's doing the right match with the right client and the right realtor that will take care of your clients. let's go back into when I was living in a hotel for 5 months. Because the realtor that was referred to us, again, the loveliest human being, but she lived in Wellington. She had no idea what Boca looked like. And that was difficult. So you want someone that is behind the scenes involved so they can guide you properly, because otherwise your clients will not be guided.
No.
So it's definitely a strength in there that you got to consider.
Yeah, and then when you mentioned about the club, the country clubs one, so country clubs were derived with a male mentality first. Like it was definitely a male-driven country club, golf, bars or whatnot. I think it's expanded much more to the female demographic in a sense too, where I think the lifestyle component, so like massages, restaurants, spas, I see transforming in that sense too. So more of all inclusive, not just a male dominant, because it was a male dominant sport forever. I mean, there's some clubs that didn't allow women to play golf until the last 20, 30 years, for God's sakes. Who makes the ultimate decision of buying a home? It's usually the female, it's usually the wife, and it's great. So why are we not leading towards that in that sense? And so I see the transformation in that sense too, for sure. I wonder if we're going to see that continuously transform to the country clubs that were to what they're trying to become now.
Yeah, we're seeing quite a bit of residential component and clubs happening a little bit north of me.
Okay.
We have quite a bit of new ones coming up. Big developments, big golf components. There's quite a bit coming up.
Very cool. That's exciting. Florida as a whole, price points, what are we looking at in your area? Average price points, single family for new dev, what are we looking at?
Depending on what they're looking for, if they're looking to be in the water. To give you an idea, I'm looking right now for land for one of my clients, and we were looking at land in the ocean. In the ocean, some of my clients made offers in areas in between Boca and Palm Beach. They bought land about 6 years ago that was, I believe the price was $3.5 million. That same land is probably 10, 15 million now.
Wow.
And that's not in Manalapan. When you go to Manalapan, you're looking at land. My client is looking at something off market right now. It's 35 million. That your house is in the intercoastal. That's just land. So the prices in anything waterfront, the prices are up. Again, there's a lot of development. First of all, you can't find land. It's very difficult. So people are going further north for those bigger developments. When it comes to homes, depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for country clubs, obviously there is the fee of the country club and plus the annual memberships that can be anywhere from $40,000 to $60,000, $80,000.
Yep.
So within the country clubs, you can find homes depending on which country club we're talking about.
Sure.
There's some that have buildings, so you can find a condo within a country club and you can be looking at 600,000 to $1 million. Okay. But everything is going up. For sure, the prices are going up inside the country clubs, depending on what the people are looking for. If they're looking for the kids to be in schools, there's multiple areas in Florida where you can be around strong schools. I can speak for Boca. You can buy within Boca. You can buy outside in very strong schools. You can buy anywhere from 600 to 5, 6, 8 million. The closer you get to the water, the more money. The closer you get to the inlets and in the intercoastal, if you're going towards the areas where you get out to the water, the closer you get to those inlets, the more money. So you can go a little bit further away, canals versus intercoastal, different prices.
Sure.
But we're seeing the numbers are up. I think that during the pandemic, after the pandemic, the numbers were inflated. So now the sellers are more reasonable.
Yeah.
So definitely they're selling versus, hey, let's see if we get silly money.
Sure.
But definitely the numbers in Florida are up.
Got it. So with the increase days on market, are we seeing a little longer now too, like the rest of the country, or what are you seeing there?
They are priced right in Florida. We are seeing movement.
Okay.
But they got to be priced right. Most people tend to relocate to Florida. So we're seeing people that want something that is done versus let me do some work. That comes with another component. I do work very closely with more than one team that can literally come in and meet with my clients and take over for all the development within the home. So I have designers that I work very closely with, and I have different levels of construction. I mean, you can build from ground up, or you can just renovate your home. So it's very important. I do definitely have an entire concierge service behind me, and my clients are relocating, and Either they buy something that they absolutely love, they must have it, but they need some renovations. But I want to say a lot of people are looking for something that is done.
Yeah, I see that too over here too. We with the pricing where things are right now, people want more turnkey. If anything, that's what I'm seeing as well.
Yeah.
But it's great that you have just teams around you. It honestly can make or break a deal in the sense where you can say, "Hey, Katia, I like that home. Let's meet with the GC. We can kind of sit together, talk about your idea openly, and then they can put some pricing together and also time frame that can go, oh, well, if that's all, then yeah, let's go for it. You know what I mean? Versus the unknown, right? People never know what things cost or how long it takes or if it's possible. Any questions that are unknown, every stone that's unturned is hesitation, which creates obviously someone not proceeding moving forward, right? And our goal is to make sure to have everything available to them, so therefore they can make the sound decision. Obviously, their decision, but if you provide everything they need, at that point, it's either yes or no. I'd rather have yes or no versus I'm not sure. I'm not sure because of A, B, and C that we didn't provide. You know.
Yeah, and it helps definitely if you are representing buyers. It's help for them to know that there is something out there. You're seeing this home, but by the way, the roof is going to cost you this and this. And I don't give them one quote. I try to make sure that I give them more than one. And it's ultimately their decision.
Of course. I totally agree with that too. Because you are, I think, a highly experienced agent, Katia. I think it's always good to tell me if I'm wrong, where people reach out to you here and they ask you questions, whether it be people in your office, other outside agents, or whatnot. Katia, I want to be your level. I want to do your business kind of thing. What advice would you give someone? It could be a new agent, it could be an existing agent, or it can be an agent just struggling right now. Period. What advice would you give?
Don't forget your database. Don't forget your connections. Organize yourself behind the scenes in a way that you are ready. If there is not a lot of business right now, plan for what's coming next. So what does that mean? How are you going to connect with them? Most people tend to have phone numbers of their friends or somebody that they met in a random place. Try to get their emails as well. Because now you have that database, you have to have some sort of CRM. The CRM to me is the most important component. You got to put in there the notes and the information. So if it's not you touching that client, it got to be somebody else within your team, but everybody's in the same sort. Stay on top of your database, stay on top of your social media, because that's key. I don't even know if you have seen my social media. There is something that I do consistently in there.
Yep.
And one of the things that I started originally was follow me to Florida, because I started it with Canada, and I consistently have that. Talk to people. Don't just reach out. Have a mentor. Have a mentor behind you. I got very fortunate that I had a mentor very early because I was working within a small company.
Yeah.
So yes, definitely have a mentor. Look at your database. You got to organize your database, otherwise you have nothing to go.
I agree.
It's very important.
I agree with the database. I agree with social media, super important too. You got to stay on top of it. I call social media like your living and breathing business card, right? Because that's, when people say, hey, can I have a business card? I go, I have something better than that. Here's my social media. I'm very transparent in my business, so you can see what I do. The business card, you're going to lose it. Who keeps business cards these days? This is my living, breathing business card, so you can see what I do, whether it be.
I'm funny. I'm the one that likes business cards.
My joke is I say business cards are to earn free lunches. Back in the day, say drop your business card for a free lunch.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah, that's what they're there for.
But also, like, for the new agents, partner with somebody, because you may have one of those. If you want to make it to luxury and you're not there yet, you may have those clients. If you're afraid of asking that person, go with somebody else.
Yeah.
Partner with somebody else and go and do those transactions. Some people don't realize how important that is, because you can still learn quite a bit. Trying to do it on your own, you may lose it. But partner with somebody else, and then you will have all the support behind the scenes and you'll be able to shine, and then you start going up.
Agreed. It's funny. I haven't had like a direct mentor. I've always had people who I look up to and kind of figure out, ask them certain questions. There was never one mentor, but it's a collection of different individuals who I just looked at different things. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, oh, I like that. I'm like, oh, I like that though. You know, kind of put it together to create the ultimate agent, as you would.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I did. But I do agree with that. Find someone who you can, look up to in the industry, just to bounce ideas off, to save you some time. Like, hey, I was thinking about doing this, but no, don't do it. It's a waste of time. But do this. So this works or whatnot. I mean, and the time saving is massive, especially what we do.
But don't forget, be yourself, because if you try to be somebody else, you are not going to go far.
Yeah, authentic, and people can smell unauthenticity very quickly, because you're right, you're faking yourself out. You only can do it for so long. I totally agree, and that's one thing I pride myself on, Katia, is like the same person I am, you'll meet me today is the same person I'm meeting me tomorrow, the next day, the next year, whatever, or in a personal setting. I'm the same exact person, and that makes me feel more comfortable too, because I don't want a fake persona out there. That's weird. I'm the same person regardless, and people come like, oh, I thought you'd be different. I'm like, in what way? They're just like, oh, I thought. I'm like, well, I'm not. So it's different.
Yeah, no, be yourself. That's important.
Well, good. Look at, we just hit the over an hour mark. Look how fast
Wow. Wow. And I saw you drinking water. I haven't reached out to my water.
Oh, yeah. If I can pass them to the screen, I'd give you some water. All right. Well, the last thing I'm going to do is fire questions. Okay. Actually, before I let you go, so people can find you obviously on social media. Katia, what's your handle, Katia, for Instagram?
My name, Katia Reisler.
Perfect. All right. So if you can find her there, show her there. I'll put that in the email when we send it out so people can see that too. But definitely follow her for social media tips, but just see how she does things. And your goal is not to copy anyone. Never copy anyone, but it should be inspiring. It should give you ideas. It should spark something on you. And that's important, because once again, like Katia said, we're all individual. Be authentic. Do what's good for you. But everyone does their own thing in a different way. And that's what's awesome. All right. So find what's best works for you. So rapid fire, or anything else you want to add that you want to say before we go? I'm going to ask some fun questions.
Oh boy, I'm afraid of those rapid fire questions, but that's okay. Here we go.
They're fun. Okay. These are one word answers. So I'm going to say one word, and then you give me what word comes to your mind when I say it. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. The first word is Florida.
Peaceful.
What was that?
Peaceful.
Peaceful. I like that. What comes to your mind when you hear the word love?
Family.
Love it. Food.
Ooh. Oh boy. I don't know an answer for that one. The first thing that came to mind was dessert. So there you go.
I love it. I love it. All right. Peru.
Wow. Legacy.
Legacy. Canada.
My family.
Real estate.
I love it.
And goal.
Creating a legacy.
Back to legacy. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, those are all great answers. I love the dessert. That's great.
I didn't think about anything else.
If that's your answer, that's a win. That's fantastic. That's great. I think you're amazing at what you do. You found what you do, in the sense of your international presence, your knowledge in new dev, and working with that. You're a very, very valuable person. I think it's awesome what you're doing, which is cool. It seems to me you've also seemed very calm, Katia, in the sense where you, not saying you figured it out, because no one has it figured out, don't get me wrong, but you're going in the right direction, and that's a beautiful thing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep representing D to the fullest in Florida and international. I think it's cool what you're doing, and of course, if you're ever in Vegas, definitely reach out. Vegas is definitely a metropolitan city now. A lot of good things happening, and it'll be a lot of international people coming through. We don't have as many international buyers as Florida does quite yet, but it's only a matter of time. So I'm sure we will connect in the future for that, which is exciting. A pleasure talking to you, pleasure meeting you, and your past experience, your history. I appreciate your time very much so.
Thank you so much for all of this. And anybody, obviously, social media is the way to connect. But yeah, no, this is wonderful. Thank you so much again for everything.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Find Katia, find her in social media, find her at Douglas Elliman, Florida, and she's only one phone call away.
I love that. Thank you so much for everything. Enjoy your day.
Thank you too. Bye, Katia.